This is ABC 10 Mornings.
All right, welcome back to ABC 10 Mornings. There's a growing demand for kids interested in science, technology, engineering, and math, otherwise known as STEM. But the trick to getting your kids interested in those subjects can be kind of tough. We're joined now by Shinjini. She's an engineer and a public speaker, and you're here to give us some insight on why STEM is so important altogether.
Absolutely, Irene, and you said it. STEM is incredibly important, but it's hard to get kids interested, so we gotta push them early on.
So, you know, there's always apps being developed, and this is one way to push your kids to really get interested. What are some examples of those?
Absolutely. So a couple of examples of apps that I love. There's one called Inventioneers. So kids really have to figure out how to, you know, get a cat out of a tree and into a basket. You know, so there's a lot of problem solving involved there. Another one is called Codable, which is a drag and drop interface for kids to really learn programming, and this is for kids who have no experience programming, so totally for beginners, great way for parents and kids to bond.
And this is for any age group, young kids, teenagers?
Yeah, absolutely. Starting young. I mean, they can be as young as 7 to as old as 18. So it really depends on kind of where you fall on this spectrum, but it's great to start them early on.
Yeah, so rather than maybe having your kids play Angry Birds or some of the other apps like that, you can have them play, and they don't even realize that they're playing these STEM-based apps, right?
Exactly. It's definitely not phrased as STEM. It's fun, it's games, and kids don't even know that they're learning problem-solving skills and an analytical mindset along the way.
Is there a big range or array of these new apps, or is it just something that's sort of starting out right now?
That's a great question. There's a huge array, and I think parents have a lot of choices, which is a good thing, but definitely, starting somewhere is better than starting nowhere, and just kind of building up along the way.
Okay, you talked about the Codable app. Can you expand more about what that is and how kids can really play with it?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a drag and drop interface, so kids can really go in and really code algorithms, to for example move an object, or to circle something, right? So it's really and you can see it on the screen here. It's really great for kids to kind of increase their spatial knowledge, but also to understand that, hey, I'm creating this one block and it's actually moving an object. So a great way to get kids to understand how the algorithm works.
Looks really neat. Okay, so for all those kids out there that may not love math, what are some ways that they can get better at problem solving aside from maybe these apps?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I will say embrace math. That's kind of the first step, because math is definitely the base of engineering and really this analytical mindset. So get comfortable with math. Math is fun. Practice is everything. Nobody is born good at anything, really.
Right,
so it is all about practice, and parents really have to kind of sit down with their kids and spend some time, maybe every weekend even, just kind of drilling those math concepts in, and then it's just exposure. It's not just problem solving, but it's about changing the world. They can build products that change the world. They can have a great impact. So kind of putting it into a bigger picture is also helpful.
This is where it all starts. All the best inventions out there start with these building blocks, these foundations for these kids. So this is a great way, I think, to really expand that. And some other advice, when classes get really tough. You remember being in school, some classes you get, some classes you just don't. What advice do you have when the going gets tough?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I think don't give up is the best advice. I think, it is tough, and it's supposed to be tough. So kind of telling yourself that, this is not anything unusual. This is how it's supposed to be. Just I'm going to get through it. I'm going to set little goals along the way. I think sometimes, kids get into trouble if they set really big goals. So just setting those small goals and achieving them along the way is going to be huge, and just having that excited and open mindset that I'm going to make it.
Yeah, those big goals sometimes can be very intimidating. Shinjini, thank you so much for joining us in the studio this morning.
Of course, my pleasure.
All right, Carlos, we're going to send things over to you.
All right, ladies, thank you so much.